the black tortoise of the north, the azure dragon of the east, the vermilion bird of the south, and the white tiger of the west. They are the four symbols, the celestial animal guardians of the cardinal directions. These cardinal directions can be found on any compass, and namely on an item called a Luopan. This is a Feng Shui compass, and within Jojo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean, the cult leader Kenzou uses his stand Dragon's Dream to its fullest potential. Kenzou uses Dragon's Dream to find the weakest point on the enemy's body, and also to find the luckiest spot for him to stand where he would avoid all attacks. There, end of stand analysis. Seriously though, you don't need Dragon's Dream to find the most favourable place to be. If you subscribe to the Bizarre Star Platinum channel, you've already found the best place to be for stand analysis videos, chapter reviews, and other content. Please make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Kenzou was arrested in his youth for being the leader of a cult, and for murdering 34 of the cult members. He practiced his assassination techniques over the last 40 years in prison by using the concept of Feng Shui to find the weakest point on an enemy, which will always result in a swift, fatal blow. Over time, his stand manifested with an ability that complemented his Feng Shui assassination abilities. Dragon's Dream is an artificial non-humanoid stand which takes the appearance of a metallic Chinese-styled dragon, very similar to one of the four celestial guardians of the cardinal directions, the azure dragon of the east from the Chinese constellations. The dragon body features two small arms that boasts claws in the shape of a typical dragon's claws, and an arrow-shaped tail which curls round underneath the head to point in front of itself. The dragon's body hovers in the center of a ring which features 8 rounded points. 4 of these points represent the 4 cardinal directions, north, east, south, and west, and the other 4 points represent northeast, northwest, southeast, and southwest. This ring emulates a compass, and the arrowed tail of the dragon body acts as the pointer. Once an enemy's unlucky point has been discerned by using the ring, the dragon's body leaves the ring and grows in size, pointing the arrow at the unlucky spot. It also covers itself in a transparent bubble when it is out of the ring. Dragon's Dream and the ring are coloured green in the coloured manga. Kenzou's stand is named after the book titled Dragon's Dream, which is a chronicle of the art and design works of Roger Dean, who has made posters as well as album covers for musicians over the years. Ironically, he also did artwork for the band Asia. China is located in Asia, and ancient China is where the pseudo-science of Feng Shui was first invented. This could have been an influence for the theme of the stand, or it could just be a coincidence. Most of the stands we've covered so far in this series have mostly just followed the wills of their users, but Dragon's Dream is a little bit different. It's a sentient stand that has a personality separate from Kenzou, even going as far as going against Kenzou's will. Dragon's Dream seems to act as a sort of impartial judge during a battle, and wants to provide a fair and equal playing field for both participants of the fight. Its abilities benefit Kenzou and only Kenzou, and we'll get to its abilities shortly, but it will also tell the opponent pieces of information to make the battle a bit more fair. For example, Dragon's Dream informed Foo Fighters of how its ability works, so that Kenzou did not have the unfair advantage of having increased knowledge of the current battlefield. Even when Kenzou tells Dragon's Dream to stop, it refuses, as it feels Kenzou's opponent should also have the same knowledge that Kenzou does going into the battle. The same also works in reverse. If Kenzou's opponent has an advantage by using tricks, Dragon's Dream will inform Kenzou to make the battle equal once again. To understand Dragon's Dream's technique, Feng Shui look reading, first we must discuss Feng Shui and gain a better understanding of the basic concepts of what Feng Shui actually is. Feng Shui, translating literally to wind water, is a famous form of divination which originated from ancient China, theorized to have been invented about 5000 BC. Those who believe in Feng Shui believe that you can read the natural flow of energy, such as the flow of both wind and water, to determine the most optimal path to follow. Reading these energies determines the best possible position for a house to be built, and what is the best direction for the house to face, where it will receive the most luck and positive reinforcements. It can also determine if a piece of land is weak and would make a bad place for a house to be built. It's also believed that the way you arrange your home can affect how the energy flows through the house or rooms. The positioning and orientation of the house, furniture, household items, etc. can be placed in the most optimal positions by determining the flow of energy of the house and land around it. All of this energy reading determines what sort of luck the household will have, whether it be good luck or bad luck, depending on the reading of the Feng Shui. This was also used back in ancient times to determine the strengths and weaknesses of an enemy stronghold, and which direction would be best to attack from. If that was a little bit too much to take in, basically, Feng Shui is a spiritual belief that energies from both wind and water help determine the most optimal positioning for buildings, household items, and the layouts of the inside of your home. There is a lot more depth to Feng Shui that I haven't actually researched, but this basic concept is all we need to fully explain Dragon's Dream's technique. If you want to look up more about Feng Shui, such as the 5 elements and Bagua maps, I'd check Google for more info, as you'll get a lot more in-depth information about it there than you will here. Moving on to Dragon's Dream itself, using these concepts of Feng Shui, the stand can determine the unlucky spots on an enemy where Kenzou's attacks would prove to be fatal. To do this, Dragon's Dream measures coordinates in cardinal directions, exact degrees, and even minutes to determine the unluckiest spots. Kenzou manifests his stand in the form of a compass, which is what determines the Feng Shui of the playing field, both the unluckiest and luckiest spots for the enemy or for Kenzou. Once an unlucky spot has been determined, the dragon's body leaves the ring as previously mentioned, and points its tail directly at the exact coordinates of the weak point. Kenzou can then use his knowledge of martial arts such as Kung Fu and Tai Chi to move in strange ways to reach these spots quickly, to then assassinate the target in one fatal blow. In opposition to finding unlucky spots on an enemy, Dragon's Dream can also use its Feng Shui determination to find lucky spots where Kenzou would be safe from any and all incoming attacks. Kenzou again utilizes his fast martial arts knowledge to shift into those lucky spots, evading the attack and coming out unscathed. Once Dragon's Dream determines the unluckiest spots on the enemy and leaves the compass, it grows in size and surrounds itself in a see-through sphere, hovering in place and pointing at the enemy's weak point. If Kenzou sends an attack into the sphere of Dragon's Dream, the limb will seemingly vanish into the sphere and reappear around the other side of the enemy, heading directly for the enemy's weak point. This way, Kenzou can reach the unlucky spots on the back of enemies without having to directly go around to their back. Any attacks sent towards the unlucky spot on an enemy will nearly always prove to be fatal, and Kenzou uses this for swift and quick assassinations. However, certain events that happen can block the attacks. If the enemy is made aware of the incoming attack by another party, they can quickly block the attack by putting their hands or another object in the way, making sure the attack is not fatal. If the enemy touches Dragon's Dream's sphere instead of Kenzou, this also counts as a successful attack towards the weak point. This could result in what seems like an accidental injury. In other words, it can be an injury caused by some sort of luck. This was shown where Foo Fighter's arm entered the sphere, and it was sent towards the dead body of a prison guard, which set off a certain chain of events, eventually resulting in a fatal injury. Because Foo Fighters is technically plankton that has a stand, not a human organism, this injury ended up luckily not being fatal to her. This is a perfect example of bad luck. An opponent's body parts entering Dragon's Dream's sphere counts as some of the unluckiest Feng Shui, resulting in the most unluckiest thing to happen to the person. Bad luck can strike the opponent in any form, depending on the situation, location, and objects in the surrounding area. Dragon's Dream has a nearly impenetrable defense as it tells Kenzou the luckiest spots to stand, but it is also a form of perfect assassination, with almost no way for the opponent to avoid the fatal attacks. The one and only obvious weakness in a fight is that Dragon's Dream passively tells Kenzou the weak point of the enemy, but does not actually attack the enemy itself. The only way for the stand to attack the enemy is if Kenzou or the opponent's limbs enter the sphere surrounding the stand. Even then, technically this isn't the actual stand attacking the enemy. This is just the Feng Shui reading at work, determining the most unlucky situation to happen and making it actually happen. Other than that, the stand only relays information, and it is then down to Kenzou to act upon the information he receives. Kenzou's skills are what completes this stand's ability. If he didn't have the martial arts skills that he does, he would most likely not have been able to stand a chance against Jolene, Foo Fighters, and Anasui. If Kenzou makes even a small mistake whilst getting into position of the lucky spots, the enemy could easily take advantage and take him out. This is the only way that he can be defeated, and Fu takes advantage of this by creating a mirror made of sweat to make Kenzou see the wrong positioning of Dragon's Dream and also the wrong reading, as he was looking at the reflection rather than the actual stand, leaving him in an unfortunate spot rather than a lucky spot. Seeing as Feng Shui's luck reading is absolute, there appears to be no counter to the perfectly accurate readings of Dragon's Dream as long as Kenzou is efficient enough at getting it into position and fatally attacking his enemies. Now it's time for my final thoughts on Dragon's Dream. I feel like this stand was one of my more enjoyed stands in Stone Ocean, and I liked that Kenzou also got some backstory too, even if it was quite dark. It's unknown whether Kenzou manifested his stand whilst in prison, or if he had the stand prior to prison yet did not realise it was there. It's possible he had this power passively affecting his life. I say this because when he burned the house down, killing 34 of his cult's members, he very luckily escaped in the perfectly lucky spot, resulting in the house falling down around that exact spot, guarding him from all the fire and smoke. This was the luckiest position in the entire building, and that just happens to be where he collapsed. With that in mind, I believe he had the stand back in his youth, but probably didn't realise it. My theory is that he had not yet manifested it into a physical form, possibly only having it affect him as a supernatural stand power instead. Either that, or he just got incredibly lucky in that instance. I don't really have a whole lot to say about Dragon's Dream, other than the fact I found the concept of it truly interesting and unique, and even though it wasn't mentioned, I believe its design was most likely based off the Azure Dragon of the East. But that is just a theory. That's about it for Dragon's Dream. This fight was one of the more interesting ones during the Punishment Ward section of Stone Ocean, but that's just my opinion. I didn't dislike part 6, but there were just some fights that stood out to me more than others. What did you personally think of Dragon's Dream? And do you believe in the spiritual concept of Feng Shui? Let me know what you thought down below in the comments. I apologise for the lack of stand analysis videos lately too. I have been trying to expand my content a bit and focus on some other topics such as general discussion videos and of course chapter reviews. I also want to expand even further by possibly focusing on other anime and manga at some point, but we'll see how that goes. It's just a possibility for the future. Let me know what you think of the idea of me covering some other manga and anime in the future. If you've enjoyed this video, then please consider subscribing to the channel for future Jojo content. Also, please hit the thumbs up button on this video if you want to see more stand analysis videos. To get notified when I release the next video, hit that bell and you'll be notified when I release another one. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, but until next time, Bizarre Star Platinum out.